should hear me shortly. Let me fix my camera. Let me turn the extra light on here. Let me get rid of this light. Okay. So in this live, we're going to talk about how I teach tarot differently than other people do. And so I've got my tarot deck here and my cards. So if you have any questions, put them in the chat. If there's any cards or combinations or anything that is difficult for you or you don't understand, let me know and we can go through it. Because I think from my own experience, maybe your experience is the same as you try to read, tarot for the first time. I think I found on my journey the biggest challenge was trying, as you get interested, you start to, buy decks and buy many decks and then start to learn the meanings of each of the individual cards. And then you probably get really good at it. And I have a good memory. So to me, I took to it pretty quickly and easily. But then after a while, you want to start reading for other people. And I feel like there's a huge gap between knowing that I call it knowing the tarot and then being able to learn to read for other people, especially, so in the beginning, you can learn to read for yourself. And I think because, just knowing the meanings of the cards and the positions of the spreads is not enough at all to learn how to effectively read tarot cards. And that's why I spend a lot of time. I do a lot of tarot readings for people. That kind of stuff. But during the pandemic, obviously things shut down, had more time. I started creating courses online and teaching people how to read tarot cards the way that I do. I've done over 5,000 students have gone through my courses to learn the tarot more efficiently. And I'll give an example of what I think using the Five of Cups. I think most places out there, as you start learning to read, or at least how I learned to read, self-teaching myself was saying, all you really need to know is some associated meaning or definition with the card, and then its position in the tarot spread, and then you're going to put that together. But that's not enough information at all in order to put together a reasonable reading that doesn't sound clunky or doesn't sound robotic every single time. And that's why, at least I started learning as I teach my course, you need more clues. Those two pieces of information is not enough information for you to do a tarot spread or tarot reading for anybody else. And what is more efficient is to learn all the different ways that you could gather information from the cards real quickly and then be able to put them together to create the messages you need. So I see what people on. So if you have any questions or any specific tarot reading challenges, let me know if you're just very beginner in tarot reading or if you're reading for other people now and just want to refine your craft, put that in the comments as well too. But I found what's really helpful for me, at least I always like numbers. So numerology actually was really easy for me, or at least I gravitated toward that very quickly. So we need to know the numerology of the card. You need to know some of the colors associations because that will tell you whether it's dealing with emotions or dealing with things like that. You need to know the hierarchy of the tarot. So not just the fact that you have a 5 in numerology, but a 5 in the cups is very different and actually a higher level, a higher rank than say the 5 of wands, the 5 of pentacles, 5 of swords, and then 5 of cups is really higher than that. So as you start to go on your tarot journey or start to read for other people, knowing these things can give you more information that you can go off. Even the colors that people wear. Let me find some other examples of the colors. So I'll give an example here. Since the Page of Pentacles has a yellow background. The yellow background is going to let you know that this is really a pentacle type color. It's about things on the earthly plane or things that you can tangibly do. But let me find a good solid. The moon's a good one. When you have blue in the background means that this is dealing with something on the emotional plane. So emotions are going to be highly involved for people. Let me find a good example of some of the other colors that they have. So even the 5 of Swords, the 5 of Swords in the tarot, once you start to learn about the imagery or how it's created and things in the background, you can see anytime you see clouds in the background, that means some of this information is hidden from you. And that's why literally your view of the situation is clouded because you can't see all the pieces of information you need in order to accurately know what's going on. The 5 of Swords is really the, win the war but lose the battle, because you may think you're making progress by winning the argument. In this case, swords usually deal with words. You may be winning the argument, but that's not really getting you to the goal that you want. And you need to, with a 5 in numerology, you need to change the way you're communicating in order to get out of this loop where you just kind of rehash the same battles over and over again without really making progress towards what you're doing. And that's why you probably need more information, because some of the information is, clouded or hidden from you so that you can't effectively gather all that kind of information. So if you have specifics on either numerology, some of the colors, some of the positions, you can drop those in the comments and we can deal with those as they come up. But let me go into some other information that we be helpful. I personally view, obviously, the major arcana here in the world. I personally view, and a lot of people do, the minor arcana kind of deal with things on the day to day life. I call it things on the earthly plane. I personally believe we all come into this life with a purpose of something we want to accomplish. And I think our spirit knows we are going to get distracted by what's going on here on the earthly plane. And we're going to kind of get off of our path for a while and then eventually find our way back to our spiritual journey. That's why the minor arcana kind of deal with things on the earthly plane or how things are going, just day to day life, whatever it might be. But then your major arcana, which I believe are your spirit guides, guardian angels, whatever you choose to believe in, they're going to come in and kind of direct you to more of the spiritual plane, higher plane of thinking and emotions to try to keep you on track for your life purpose or what you wanted to do or intended to do in this lifetime. And that's why they carry more weight in any kind of reading. If you're doing a 3-card reading and there's a major arcana card, the way I teach in my courses is the gravity of that reading is going to come more directly to that situation, and it's going to more direct, have more weight or more substance to it. That's why you always take the opinions of the major arcana cards much more seriously. Let me give some kind of examples. I also tell people in my courses, if it seems like a lot of information, but once you get the information down and kind of understand how to sort the information a card is trying to give you, it actually can become very easy to read any spread. I personally say if you can read any 2-card, if you're interested, you can check out how I teach tarot, definitely with no cost training. That's the link in the post in the comments. But let's get into some more information on some of the suits, some of the decks, some of the information within the tarot that is most helpful. Yeah, so here's one of my favorite ones. So this is a good example, but sometimes people get wrong or get confused as they read tarot. Something like the Ten of Swords without the numerology. When you first look at it, it looks very ominous and very doom and gloom, obviously, because that's kind of what it looks like. And then obviously having the black in the background, once you know the colors and so forth, kind of tells you this is a dark situation or a really tough situation or a struggle or recent struggle in your past. So most people really associate this with a really negative card, and it is. It acknowledges that some tough times have been going on, but once you know the numerology aspect of it too, you put together this dark background, which means a struggle or some. Obviously, swords can mean conflict and so forth. But once you know that the 10 in numerology is really a 1, and 1 is new beginnings, and that's why you kind of see the sun rising here in the background. The end root of meaning of this card is basically the worst the situation is over. So I've had some people in before I can get to them in the reading, see this card pop, like, oh, this is really bad. But I'm saying it's acknowledging it, but this is almost never a surprise card. You're never not aware that something was difficult or something was going on that was causing you conflict. It is something you fully know. And this card's almost giving you the peace of mind to know that as bad as the situation is I always say it's deader than dead. And that's why you see the sun rising in the background here. And the 10 in numerology is really a 1, telling you the new beginnings, to say the worst of the situation is over. So therefore, it's easier for you to move forward and know that you're putting that situation behind you. Let me look at some of the other things we like to look at. Oh, yes. Let me find some active and passive people. So here is the Hermit. And when you look at the Hermit, he looks to the left, right? So there are cards like the 6 of Wands, where they're kind of going forward or they're moving to the right as you look at the cards. And there are cards like the Hermit who look to the left. This is more active versus passive. So the 6 of Wands is like success or victory, achievement, balance. So that's why they're kind of going in the forward direction to the right when you actually view the cards, not on the flipped camera. But the Hermit is looking to the left, and that's why the Hermit is more about passive. I wouldn't say truly passive, but more internal, more introspection thing. That's why you're going to be looking within to find the wisdom that you need in order to, really kind of grow and benefit yourself out and do that kind of stuff. That's why an active direction versus a more passive direction are all that type of orientation also gives you information, because then when you put it together in certain readings, you'll have certain cards kind of staring directly at other cards, and that also gives you a clue on the information as to how they could be related or how to put information together between these two, as again as I talk about this pair duality and using the hierarchy of the tarot.